Hi guys, so this is Joey or Rowan, and today's discussion-y topic that I wanted to talk about whilst I drink my green tea with jasmine, yum yum yum, is sisterhood. And I wanted to talk about it in the realms of modern Western society and within paganism. And it has been a subject which has long bothered me, and it's bothered me for many years, in fact, although I didn't know how to put it into words for a long while. So I thought I would talk about this today. Tomorrow is Sunday, so tomorrow I'll probably have a day off and won't be posting any videos, but I thought I would put this out there as a topic of discussion. So what do I mean by sisterhood? Obviously, this might be one more for the women of the world and the pagan community rather than the guys. However, that is not to say that this doesn't apply to how men and women interact as well, although that's obviously a different dynamic in general. So just get that out of the way. So what do I mean by sisterhood? Well, by sisterhood, I mean the general interaction of women. And this is important to me for a number of reasons. I mean, one, I am a woman. One, I do have friendships with women. And I was one of 3 sisters. And a lot of pagan communities are not entirely women, but there seems to me to be a lot more women, maybe more vocal in the pagan community than there are men. There are, not discounting you guys, but you know, they seem to monopolise a little bit, maybe. Okay, so let's talk about it to start off with in a general societal sense before we go into a pagan-y sense. So it has long worried me, actually. Excuse me. I sat on a blanket and I need to move it. There you go. You know you're in for a thrilling video when I start bouncing about all over the place. Lord and lady. Okay. So for a long time it has bothered me slightly the seeming often complete lack of sisterhood within society as a whole, in Western civilization, excuse me. I can only really talk about Western civilization because I have no experience with any other. So I can only comment on my experience, and I understand that, you know, there are many different experiences all over the world, which is a great part of YouTube. So, you know, if you're in a different civilization, want to civilization? I don't think I meant civilization, but you know, different part of the world, think different things are different than VR, and let me know. I'd be interested to know. But within Western civilization, anyway, I think it's completely falling apart. And you can see this in 2 main threads within main society. One is my experiences experiences within society, within starting in school and then going into older adult society, and then in the mainstream, so media and things like that. So let's talk about media first, because that's actually easier while I sip my tea, excuse me. Whenever something happens to a woman in the media, the woman is often, they often seek out to blame the woman for something that's happened. So a good example of this is cheating. I mean, the whole Jennifer Aniston, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie is a really good example of this. And why I mentioned them is because of how the reactions were towards the women versus how they were towards the men. Now, I mean, I remember T-shirts being released with Team Angela and Team Jen on them, and both Angelina and Jennifer Aniston were treated in very negative lights in a lot of ways, completely different ways. Angelina Jolie got a lot of sort of homewrecker comments and, you know, femme fatale type comments, and people were blaming her for the splitting up of a marriage and etc. etc. Whilst people then sought to find elements of blame towards Jennifer Aniston as well. And I remember things in magazines that said she was so restrictive and weird in her behaviours towards Brad that he sought out. And all I could think was, where is the blame on Brad Pitt? Because if they cheated, then I'm afraid Brad Pitt is to blame as well. But Golden Boy didn't get any of that. And people often seek to blame the other woman, and as if the other woman did it all, tempted him away, the guy was not to blame. And women do this. Women actively seek out and blame the other woman. And when they're involved, and when you've been involved with a man and he's cheated, it's often very difficult to blame him, because then you're also admitting something wrong in the relationship rather than blaming the other one who seduced him and took him away and there was nothing wrong in your relationship. It's a form of denial, basically. But in society in general, it's really odd that women seek out to blame other women. And then there's this culture of judging and criticising and being unpleasant to other women who we don't necessarily even know. Insults are bandied about. If you ever, I mean, I don't read them because I'm against it, but if you ever read these tattletale mags, which are all gossip magazines basically, and this person is fat, this person is put on weight, this person has cheated with this person has this person has acquired materialistically this, and it's all a very culture of materialistic gain, judgment and unpleasantness. I don't know why it is. I don't know why there isn't an element of supporting other women and praising other women and celebrating other women's achievements. I don't understand why that is within society at large. I really don't get it. Why we are so quick to bitch, to label, to gossip, rather than to, you know, try and understand. And I think in terms of sisterhood, this is worse. We seem to excuse men's behaviour a lot easier than we excuse women's. And you can see this in the double standards of society. In Western society, obviously, in other societies, there are stricter rules on women. There's a whole history behind women's history is a really interesting subject, which I have studied before, and I find it really interesting. There's all these double standards within society. So the easiest and most obvious one is a man has many sexual partners, he's a stud, and a woman does the same thing and she's a, yeah. I've said before that whatever a person wants to do, as long as it is their own honest personal truth, I respect that. If it's not and they're lying and they're doing it for other reasons, prove themselves, because they're depressed, you know, there's a whole branch of reasons why people behave a certain way and it's not their truth, then I don't agree with that. At school, a lot of us experience problems with sisterhood. We might have friends, and then there's always some girls that we don't get on with. When I was at school, it was very cliquey, and there was a big group of girls that hung around together, and about 13 of us, and it was hell on earth. There was, you know, there was always a couple of ringleaders, and they would pick somebody who would get picked on for a week or two, and they rotated. And a lot of times you took part in this because you were so afraid of being the one who was being picked on. You didn't want to be outcast from everybody because it felt horrible. It was it was just nasty, and the ringleaders never got picked on because they were they were pushing this. And in the end, I did the unthinkable and stunned and shocked them all and left and started hanging around with a different group of girls because was sick of it. I got to the point where I didn't like it. I didn't want to be part of it anymore. I felt bad if I ever did take part in it. And admittedly, as a 13-year-old girl, you do, because you're just under that social pressure. You want to be part of the group. And then you get to a point you just think, this is sad. This is upsetting people. This is hurting people. I don't want any part of it anymore. And I left. Excuse me. But it's everywhere, and it doesn't stop in school. I've been in plenty of jobs, and older women behave just as badly. I was in a supermarket job, and the person who was stirring all the time and going between women and saying this person said this person said that, was a 40-odd-year-old woman with kids. It wasn't the younger women at that place. It was her, and I don't think it does stop unless you make an active decision that you don't want this anymore. And I think in society we need to get to the point and say that women need to support other women, because we've had it bloody hard throughout history. You go and look at English history, and the suffragettes, they chained themselves. Some people gave up their lives, and to give women equal right to vote. Same as men. For many, many years, women had been considered lower class citizens. How they dressed, that they were owned. They were property. They weren't as intellectually able because they weren't given the opportunities of education, same as men. They weren't considered the same. And women throughout history in Western civilization and things have fought for their right to be equal, to have equal opportunities, to be given the choice. And then we get to this point in society where women are bitching on other women rather than focusing on things that might improve their own lives and improve the lives of women in general. There are still women in the world that are, attacked and abused. And we should be sticking up for these women and trying to help women in general rather than judging them. And this is another area. This is the area in which this judgment towards women gets pretty damn serious. You hear cases where women have been attacked, and you hear stories of other women saying, well, they deserved it. In cases of rape, they still ask and judge a woman on whether or not she'd been drinking and what she was wearing. Now, rape is abuse, and it's about anger and violence. It's not about sex. It's not about inviting sex. Rape is a violent crime. And I've studied crime as well. And one of the most horrifying reports I ever read was this guy went and interviewed a rapist. And the rapist told him that he specifically looked for certain things in victims for a number of reasons. He would look for women who were wearing high heels versus flats or trainers because it was harder for them to run away. He would look for women in skimpier clothing because they would be judged more harshly by the penal system if he ever got in trouble. Same with intoxication. He would not attack a woman who had an umbrella because that would be a weapon. And he went through all these things, and it was really, really frightening. And you think he's playing on and preying on societal judgments. So rather than having a bond of sisterhood in society where everybody without question says it's wrong, it's a violent crime, we need to stand against it no matter what, there are cases where women are blaming other women. That to me is disgusting, personally. I won't go down that road, because that road, I'll get quite angry and fiery if I go down that road. So I'm going to move away from that and talk in general about paganism. So there are a lot of women involved in paganism, as I said. Not all, but there are a lot of women involved in paganism. And what we have to remember with being pagans, this ties into another video I did about our energy. The things that we say and the things that we do and the words that we say have power in them. And as pagans and witches, we seek to increase our personal power and connection to the divine, whose energy is in everything, through everyone. And we have to learn to bond as sisters. And even if we don't get on with people, try not to descend to a level where we are ruining the ideals of a sisterhood. Calling a woman a whore, for example, just because you don't get along with each other, or picking on somebody's appearance or disabilities or level of education, or how does that help sisterhood or you or women in general? It doesn't, and you're just putting venom into your own heart and your own soul, rather than focusing on a collection of women that should be sharing and learning from one another. We celebrate the balance of female and male, the god and the goddess. Some pagans only worship the goddess. I personally think you need the balance, but that's my personal opinion. So if we worship female divinity, why are we so quick to judge and dismiss women? Why aren't we applying sympathetic standards to women? Now, this isn't to say that if you should get on with everybody. No. Not everybody will get on, and that's just the way of the world. Some people don't see eye to eye, some people just don't like each other, some people have wildly differing views. That's how life is, and that's okay. But when you start breaking down other women because of things, race, sexuality, weight, you're just attacking them as a woman, rather than saying, I don't get on with you as a person, let's leave it at that. So, it is my feeling that sisterhood is something we need to really think about. The bonds that we have as friends and whatever, as women. Because somewhere along the line as well, people have started getting really odd about having close relationships with women and judging people to be of a different sexual orientation just because they're good friends with a woman. I've seen a lot of this recently, and I'm not really understanding it. Oh, she's a lesbian because she has really close female relationships. And it's like, well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having close female relationships. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being gay or lesbian. But when it doesn't make you a lesbian just because you have close female friends. I don't understand where that's come from recently either. I saw this a bit as a kid, like a teenager, and then I didn't see very much more of it for a while, and then this is resurfaced. And it's like, well, if your sexual orientation is straight, there's nothing wrong with that. And if you have close female friends, that doesn't change your sexual orientation. Why are you attacking women? And why are you using lesbian as an attack? Have more respect for your fellow sisters. Their sexual orientation is their own. Their friendships are their own. Leave them alone. I mean, I don't understand it at all. I don't get it. I really don't. I'm rambling a bit because I have so many points that are in my head. But basically what I am saying is be good to one another. You don't have to get on with everybody. You don't. And that is how society is. We don't all get on. And that's cool. That's fine. But, you know, you're fat, you're a whore, you're only spreading hatred, and the bonds of sisterhood need to start coming back. We need to bring it back. We need to start being stronger as women. And men as well, you know. But, yeah. So I think I will leave it there for today. I have things to do today because that's going to sound awful because Naomi's at home. That's not what I meant. We're going out. Oh, okay. So that's it for today. So many blessings.